This is the Razer Mamba Tournament Edition gaming mouse. I've owned it for about a year and a half, and it's been my main mouse. Here's what I think of it. As always, make sure to leave a like, a comment down below, and maybe consider subscribing. Once again, the Razer Mamba has been my main mouse in my gaming setup. I actually bought it at the same time that I bought the Razer Black Widow, which I made a video about recently. Link is down below. But I bought it mainly because of the lighting. I knew nothing about the mouse. I just saw the lighting and how gorgeous it was, so I picked it up. And of course, I had the money at the time. And on top of that, really the only brand I knew, since I was a PC noob, was Razer. I didn't know anything about Corsair, SteelSeries, or even HyperX. So Razer and the lighting really appealed to me. Anyway, the purchase turned out to be really good. I've tried a couple mice since then, and I still keep coming back to this one because of the comfort and how familiar it feels. I really have no negatives to say about the Mamba, except for a couple of warnings, and we're gonna go over those in this video. So let's begin with the build quality. I'm assuming most of the construction is plastic, except for maybe some internals. That works really well. The comfort of this mouse is top notch. Every button is just placed perfectly, and the shape of it fits my hand perfectly. This mouse is meant for a palm grip, which is exactly how I use it. As I grip it, my thumb sits right on top of the two buttons on the side for easy access. I use those buttons for primary and secondary weapons in games. Those buttons also serve as forward page and back page while browsing the web. They can also be reprogrammed for whatever you'd like. One thing that you don't find in all mice is the ability to scroll to the side with the scroll wheel. The Mamba lets you do exactly that. All you have to do is tilt the wheel to the left or right. They're also their own individual buttons, meaning they could be programmed to serve whatever purpose you need. There are 9 total buttons in this mouse, including the DPI up and down buttons. They can all be reprogrammed. Talking about DPI, this mouse can go all the way up to 16,000 DPI. That's insane. You have to be on crack to be able to game on that sensitivity. I normally use 1800 when using it normally, and I use 800 while gaming. It may be slow for some, but I'm a complete noob at PC gaming. Still, even after a year and a half. And for the most concerning thing about this mouse, the sensor. The Mamba has a laser sensor, which is not regarded as the best by most people. In all the 18 months that I've had with this mouse, I've not encountered any issues with the sensor until very recently. A couple times in the last 2 or 3 weeks, the mouse sensor seems to freeze in odd times. It happened for about a second each time, and it was noticeable. I can imagine that happening in the middle of a very intense match of CSGO or something and really enraging the player. That's exactly what the negative reviews describe when they say this mouse has a bad sensor. I'm still not completely sure if that was the mouse's fault or something else, but it sure is fishy, and I wouldn't be surprised if it is the sensor, since this mouse is kind of old now. I take care of all my electronics, and this mouse has held up really well. Besides the normal wear oily fingers give it, the mouse looks like it's in great condition. Sure, the gliding pads on the bottom may be getting worn out, but the rest of the mouse looks great. One thing I've also noticed is that the buttons still sound like they did on day 1, and they don't really feel loose or worn out. I'm not sure what the lifespan of each button is, but they feel like they could go another 2 years. For those of you interested, here's a sound test. They're not too loud and they're not too quiet. You can definitely play at night without annoying someone else, as long as they're not sitting within 10 feet from you. One thing that'll probably attract the most people, it certainly attracted me, is the lighting on this thing. The Razer logo lights up, of course, but what catches people's attention are those 2 strips on the sides. Each strip is fully customizable on top of the many lighting modes it already comes with. If that isn't enough, you can customize each lighting section. You can access all of this in the Razer Synapse software, which is very easy to use. Some things that I'm still not really enjoying about the lighting are the lighting sections themselves. You can clearly see where one section ends and the other starts. The strip isn't 100% connected. I don't know how to explain it, and I'm not even sure I could show it on camera, but I'll try my best to show it to you. And it may not even be a big deal for anyone. One feature that was on the Corsair M65 Pro RGB, which I reviewed recently, link is down below, that is not here is the weight system on the bottom of the mouse. For me, there's no problem at all. I think this mouse weighs the perfect amount, but for those who like to tinker with the weight of the mouse, this may repel you from it. So really, the sensor is the only thing that may be your problem. For me, it worked without problems for about a year and 6 months, and still works, well besides a couple instances. For the $80 I spent on it, I would say that it's a very good purchase. I normally switch up my electronics shortly before 12 months of using them, especially if I use them every day. But I still have this mouse and I still use it every day. So I would still recommend it 100%. I would also recommend the Razer Death Adder Elite, which has pretty much the same body as this one, but with an optical sensor for $30 less. The only thing about that one is that it doesn't have the lighting strips on the sides, only the logo lights up. That's it for this video. Make sure to leave a thumbs up, leave a comment down below, and consider subscribing. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.